result, we wanted to use this meeting to better position us as a committee to make decisions and move the project along when getting everyone together and to hold these meetings is probably going to be difficult for the foreseeable future. So we may wind up doing more of these conference-type meetings in the future, but hopefully, we can kind of keep the project moving along and not have it suffer any more than it already is, or that we already are, and so forth.
Eric, that's me, Rich, coming in.
Hey, Rich.
I'm online.
Great. Okay, so first item on the agenda is an update from Collier's for the lockers, construction contract timing, some quotes for painting of the rubber base, and an update on budget and any other additional items.
Yep. Okay. Received the report from the Penco rep. They were out on February 26th to swap out the kindergarten fronts that were not bent correctly. Unfortunately, what happened was they shipped the 60-inch fronts when they needed to ship the 48, so really they got nothing. They didn't accomplish one of their goals that day, was to swap out the fronts for the kindergarten. But they did go through all the lockers, and he wrote up a email report of what he found. As in regards to the half-high lockers or the 48-inch lockers, he's saying he's replacing the half-height lockers. But when I talked to him on the 26th, he was saying he was just going to do the front. So I'm going to get clarification on that. But once school is out and we got to give him the last day of school, he's going to schedule a crew to come in and replace at least the fronts of those lockers with new fronts. And according to this email, he's replacing all the lockers, the body and the fronts, but I don't think that was his intent, and I'll get further clarification of that. While they were here on the 20th... Excuse me?
I just said okay.
Okay. Sorry. While they were here, the crew from North Carolina went through and adjusted all the lockers. And in his report, he has more on that. There was a discussion on the gaps between the locker groups where the bolts aligned and kind of separated the locker groups. A larger gap. He's saying this is PSI's responsibility to come in and separate them and misalign the bolts so the lockers can be tighter together. And he is recommending that this be done during the summertime. And then the blocking and the fillers for the lockers that went in and out from the wall, he is saying, when we contracted with the blocking, the contractor to add the blocking, he added a uniform blocking strip to the walls. So either two by material or a 2 by material and plywood. It was uniform across, so any variations in and out of the wall is just mirroring what the wall does. So he's saying that that's not the responsibility of PSI or Penco as far as the in and the out. And he's saying the mass shimming would not be the responsibility of either PSI or Penco to do. And then the additional observations, he was I will forward this on to Dr. Banner, and I will forward also on to Sal that he was noticing that the backpack straps and the coats, and books are interfering with the swing of the doors, which, if they continue to do that, will make them stick and they'll need to be adjusted. But this will be the responsibility of the schools to do that.
Sal, do you have that problem at other schools?
What, that backpack straps and things hang out?
Well, I mean, that's going to happen. Does it mess up,
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
That's alignment of other lockers?
That, we're dealing with, users that are, 11 years old and younger.
Yeah.
So, it's bound to happen. It's hard enough to get adults not to do that. And,
But, I mean, at other schools in town, does the town of Fairfield have to go around and adjust the stickiness of lockers because the users are having the backpack straps hang out?
I know that there's repairs that are made to lockers from time to time. I mean, it's not it's not like a weekly or a monthly thing. I mean, we do have repairs to lockers, and they're handled through work orders. But I would, if they're going out of alignment rapidly, I believe we have a problem.
Right, I guess that's my question.
Either with the manufacturer or with the installation.
Do we want to address getting this work done now when the school is shut down, or do we want to wait until the summer? And I guess that's to you, Sal.
Well, I haven't seen the report that Eric that Mark got from Penco. So he'll send that over to me. Can we make use of the shutdown time? Yes, we can. We do have the extremely fluid situation. For God's sakes. But we can have. I mean, if we had somebody, if we had PSI say, "Gee whiz, give me next Tuesday, and I need an 8-hour shift to do it. I'll show up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'll take care of everything."
Right.
We'll make it happen. This morning, Mark and I had a meeting, which he'll report on following this. And the information I had this morning is different than the information I have right now. You might have seen Mike Cummings' update with information of some statements that the state is saying about reopening schools. I haven't had a chance to talk to him myself, so that was completely different than what I was proceeding on this morning. So,
Mark, can you check with the locker people and just see if they have time in their schedule to address this before the summer?
Yep.
If that's okay with you, Eric, and everyone else?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're going to get people up from North Carolina to do it, but I can contact I can contact PSI to offer it to them. I can also offer it to Peter if he's got the materials waiting. There is some fab time that they needed to fab the fronts, so I will reach back out to Peter tomorrow and tell him that the school's open, and if he can get a crew here to get it done, he can take advantage of it and not have to worry about coming back in the summertime.
Yeah, thanks.
how much money do we have holding on these people?
We have 18,000 on PSI. We have nothing on Penco.
Do we know if PSI is holding? I mean, because Penco's a stub of PSI, no?
Penco is PSI's supplier.
Right.
Is
know if Penco is holding any money from them?
If Penco is holding any money on PSI?
No, PSI. Sorry, if PSI is holding any money from Penco.
That I don't know. I would speculate that they aren't, because then they would be shut off from getting Penco products for other jobs that they need.
That's their problem, not ours.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I would suspect that PSI is not holding any money on Penco.
I hear some comments in the background. I don't know what it means.
I don't think that was intended for us.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, obviously, there should be no movement of money until this thing has got somewhat resolved, which doesn't seem like it's going to be very quickly done.
Understood.
Yeah, agreed. All right.
Okay.
So, I guess as far as the, have you received any comments for, proposals for touching up the paint and?
No, I have not. I have not actively gone out and searched for them either, because I was figuring that work was being done over the summer. So I will jump on that to get the base and the painting done. I will seek quotes on that.
If I can interject, Chairman, sir.
Yes, please.
Sal, based on the new rules, with everything being mitigated through the attorney nowadays, do you think at this point we should start a legal process?
Or no, I don't believe we have anything to talk to the lawyer about. I mean, we're not. They're not unresponsive, not at all. So, it has
oftentimes
a drawn
as a
out
businessman,
timeline. Yeah, we have a
oftentimes
drawn
as a
out
business,
timeline. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
as a businessman, oftentimes when I introduce the name of a lawyer or even a letter, and it depends on how that attorney works for me or is on retainer or whatever, the intent that I might sue sometimes is something that I use as a weapon to get what I want done.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, Rich. And I think Mark probably of the same opinion. I don't think that we have a obstinate or unresponsive contractor yet.
No.
Unfortunately, the timeline's long just because of working around an occupied school.
And I say that bearing in mind that we actually, as a committee, we do bear some costs by activating even the town attorneys, which surprised me that we are charged with that particular fee. I would think that, anyhow, I'm not going to get into the politics of the whole thing, but so I'm adverse to frivolous lawsuits for sure. I've endured enough of them on my own business.
I'm in agreement with Sal. I mean, if they have been responsive as far as coming out and responding. I was getting a little worried because it's been I just got the response from Penco today, which is almost a month after the visit, and it took me prodding him twice to get it. But he's got RFQs and RFPs going out for the summertime, so I kind of understand that. If they become anywhat unresponsive, I would at least serve notice to them that this is not going well for you guys.
And here again, Mark's saying that it took a month to get that response from Penco, which is a supplier to PSI. I'm sure that that there is no mystery to PSI as to what is in the Penco report.
No.
If I was a manufacturer, I'm not going to sandbag somebody that buys from me.
No.
Absolutely not. That was circulated, reviewed, marked up, redlined, all that to find just the right wording and all that good stuff. So, you're dealing with Penco and PSI as one. That being said, PSI, who is the entity that we have a contract with, has not been resistant to doing corrections to make us satisfied. Same thing with Penco. I mean, they actually had workmen travel from North Carolina to do those adjustments that Mark talked about. I really wouldn't pull the trigger on bringing the town attorney into it at this juncture. That's my opinion.
Okay, so noted.
Okay.
Hi, Al. Jenna just joined. Sorry I'm late.
Who's that?
It's Jenna. Sorry. I'm late.
Okay.
Can I just ask Ellen? Can I just ask Ellen, are you following along? You know whose voice is who, Ellen, for the minutes?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so, I guess, Mark, Sal, keep the pressure on PSI. It's unfortunate, especially, with where we're at now, we do have an opportunity, for the time being at least, to get in and do some of this work. So let's try to keep the pressure up on them so we can get this resolved once and for all sooner rather than later.
Understood.
Who was just talking?
It's Eric.
Okay, Eric.
Okay, moving on to diversity and the HVAC project, or the AC project, according to the state. Had a kickoff meeting with them this morning. Rich and Meredith were on the call. They are basically, we did a kickoff meeting, went through a lot of the logistics, the site, where they're going to set up and all that. They are in the process of doing submittals and getting their submittals into Silver Petrocelli for review. Most of their items are, or the VRVs are a 10-day lead time, and that submittal should be approved. I believe they were talking about approved this week. So that should be, a quick turnaround, and they are expecting to mobilize. And with the situation that we have, we are looking to mobilize on the week of the April 6th and have actual people working on the 9th. They are well aware of the shutdown that's going to take place on the 10th, but their initial work is in the classrooms, which will be well lit. They'll just need to supply power for their tools. Like anything, we had a good discussion as far as what happens when the kids come back. But for right now, we should be able to get a good 2 weeks worth of work in before they do, and then they will go to second shift.
Okay. Okay. With the the VRF submittals, do they also provide submittals for the RTUs for the APR and the gym?
Those are longer lead time. They don't anticipate setting those
Right.
till July. So I'll check with Marty as far as Marty is the Silver Petroselli's construction administrator on the job, and I'll follow up on the RTU submission to see where that is at.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I asked because I did anticipate that they were a longer lead time, so I want to make sure we're staying on top of those submittals for long lead time items. And we're getting those in and reviewed. I know they don't need to order them right now, and they can do that on their as it fits in with their schedule. But I don't want, I'd rather have that approved submittal in hand than scramble to wait for it.
Correct.
Or scramble to get it done and in and reviewed and approved when it becomes more critical to the schedule.
Understood. We met.
Eric, if I can interject at this point,
Yep.
Eric, do you mind?
Yeah, I do not mind.
In your absence, I requested that, perhaps brazenly, that you be on all submittals. They go directly to you as the chairman. Now, that was something that I took the liberty of asking, and I certainly want to hear your opinion on that, and whether you wish to have that done or not.
Yeah, and Mark relayed that to me earlier this afternoon as well. So yeah, I'm fine with that. And actually, I prefer it.
That's quite a onerous responsibility, and they're going to use that against you in some possibilities. Okay, so that's why I point that out. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating being required to approve individual submittals or RF5s, unless I'm mistaken, but I don't see that as my role. Rich, you've chaired a few of these. Are you normally reviewing and approving submittals, or are you relying on the architects or others to do that?
It depends on the project. On some of the projects that are really large, yes, and some of them that are, require immediate. No, it varies on the project. Some project I think it deserves your review and your time, which is going to be substantial.
Yeah. And I think if I'm notified as they're being issued by the contractor, I can interject as I feel appropriate.
Right.
Or
and you have
not if it's something more technical in nature that the engineers should be handling.
And more than that, you're not the only vote. You have the committee that backs you one way or the other. So it's not all totally on your shoulders, but it will be to a certain extent. You'll be the leader on quite a bit. So anyhow, okay.
A question: Does the diversity have all their permits? Are they all set with everything they need from town hall?
They have their building permit, and they should have gotten the HVAC should have filed their HVAC permit and received it last Friday. We met with Diversity and his subs on last Thursday, and they were going through everything, and the HVAC contractor said he submitted his prior to the meeting, and he was expecting his the following day.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And you'll just confirm that you did indeed pull it, Mark?
I can do that.
Thank you.
sign it. Just want to jump in on a few of the topics that you guys were discussing and an update. In terms of the rooftop units, submittals, we just received those. So those are in review. Those will be returned fairly quickly. At our meeting today, we have about 90% of the submittals already in and returned. So from a submittal perspective, diversity is in good shape. Actually, I never received a submittal schedule, and we talked today, and he said, well, by the time I do that, I'm going to have all your submittals in there. But he's still going to provide it anyway, so we have a sort of a date track on all of that. He felt he was in good shape in terms of all his lead times as it relates to his timeline, and he's also going to be submitting to us his schedule of values. Now, as far as review of submittals, what was discussed today was RFIs only, in terms of you being at least seeing it. And fine in terms of you seeing it, but if this is going to need a stamp, this is going through Procore, which you're probably familiar with, which is an online distribution project management software. It will come to our office, but then we will need to somehow distribute it for your review prior to release. And like I said, 70-80% of the submittals have already been reviewed by us, which we're happy to share to you. But, I'm not, at today's meeting, we did not, with all due respect, Rich, we only talked about RFIs. We didn't talk about submittal. And I'm happy to do what you guys want. It does different complexity to how that gets signed off for the project. Or is it just an oversight? So, I don't want to make it too complicated, but it could become complicated even with something as simple as this project.
Right. Which is, kind of why I was not anticipating having or my approval being required on things like submittals and RFIs. I do appreciate being kept in the loop, and Dave, I am familiar with Procore, and I have an account through my work through my work email that I could provide to you, so you can provide access, and I'm happy to kind of keep track of things that way. I think that would actually be very useful. And then I think, as I see things coming in, I think maybe the best course of action would be to alert you to anything that I think either requires, my input or the input of the committee, and then we can add me as a reviewer, on any given item, whether it be a submittal or I guess future submittals for the remaining 10% that aren't approved, or RFIs or anything like that.
Yeah, but fair enough. I also mentioned to them that I thought that when the schedule of values comes through, that I was going to pass that along to you for review. So when those applications for payments come in, you're familiar with the schedule and, it'll be easy to comment on and so forth. But, no, that's fine. I think you see there's third-party review. They're the ones controlling the Procore, not us, so we'll have them set you up as a user, and then, yes, it will fall into your, sort of user project tree that's on the program.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Mark, maybe I'll email you my work email that you could pass along to them to add me to Procore.
Yeah. Just to continue along that line. Excuse me, this is Richard. There still is the building department that has to finally approve. This is not
a one-stop thing over here. It has to be approved by the contract review by the purchasing personnel.
For change orders and that sort of thing, or what?
What ultimately gets paid? That's all.
Yeah. It's like on the schedule of values and stuff.
Yes.
Right. It's not totally on your shoulders. It's reviewed by others as well. You don't have the whole ball of wax, so to speak. All right.
Right. Okay.
And the other thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just this might be a little bit off track, and it's only because of some history that I'm aware of. The noise factor on units on the roof, and the perhaps unsightliness of the units to the adjacent property owners. Is that something that needs to be considered? It was considered on phase 1 of Roger Sherman.
Good point.
It was not brought up at the
I
code
presume we do not have any screening spec'd in the drawings. Is that correct? Dave, do you know offhand?
That is correct. That is correct.
How is that? This is Jenna. I'm just curious. How is that typically reviewed in a neighborhood such as that, especially with the homes being lifted and they have more of an angle view of the roof?
We did noise measurement. I forget I know the lawyer, but I can't remember. It was addressed, and I'd have to go back into the minutes or something, way back when. But that's, I don't know if I'm just resurrecting something that is a non-issue because of the efficiency of modern units nowadays and the moist pollution factors. I just don't know. I'm asking the question, period.
So I'm just curious, was it just a noise thing, or was it also the aesthetics of
it was the aesthetics
screening?
It was the aesthetics as well.
Rich, do you recall, was it a specific issue, or was the issue raised specifically by a neighbor, or was it just considered by the committee kind of independent of any specific concern?
I can't give you an honest answer on that. I just don't remember. I do not remember. But we did go through some dictum regarding that particular possibility, and whatever was provided was satisfactory.
Got it. Okay, I mean, my opinion would be, we've been holding meetings in public for 2 years on this. There's been no secret that we were doing HVAC upgrades to the school, and it was never raised as a concern by any neighbors, who I think would be those individuals that would, really be stakeholders in an issue like that. And if it hasn't been raised as a concern to date, I don't see the project needing to accrue any additional costs in order to mitigate something that might not be a concern.
No.
I think perhaps contact with the manufacturer to report on decibel levels or something like that of the units that they intend to provide might be an answer to that.
Eric, this is David Stein. I'm on the town's website, and I pulled up the noise ordinance, which is chapter 78 of your ordinance. HVAC units are actually exempt. There's exemptions. It's section 78.9. At least this is my interpretation, and I'll read it to the group. Noise generated from swimming pools, air conditioning systems, and heating systems, which are in good working order and which meet the specifications accepted by the federal, state, and town agencies designated to govern their installation and standards of performance. So it exempts the noise ordinance. We're conscious of that when we're designing, especially for generators. Some municipalities will exempt generators because it's for emergency use, and I think this is related here too. But from just that reading through that, and I recall we looked at it, they're exempt.
Okay, then it should be so noted in the minutes of the meeting today that this was addressed and that the architect has found that it is a non-entity as far as he's concerned.
All that I would say is that we could defer to town planning and zoning or somebody from the municipality to agree with my interpretation, but that's my interpretation.
Okay, and just as long as it's in the record, that's all I care about.
And as far as screening, I know with some of our other projects there was discussion. We just the Mill Hill project, for example, just went through planning and zoning. Screening was not a requirement through planning and zoning, but there's another that could be deferred. That went through a peer review with staff that knew what was going on, but there's another one you could defer to staff to comment on that. So we do not have any visual screening in the project.
Again, so noted in the record.
Okay. I guess, Mark, the one thing that we kind of skipped over, but I guess maybe touched upon in the forthcoming schedule of values, is there any, do you have any update to the budget? I saw you circulated an update earlier this afternoon to the committee, but
I apologize. That was awfully late on me. But I did send out the financial status report, and I also included the budget blocks for the architect and Collier's for those other two invoices being routed for today. As far as the update of the budget, no, I have not updated that yet. The diversity's price is within budget, and we will break out the FEMA versus non-FEMA on their part once we get the schedule of values.
okay. And at a minimum, that schedule of values should be detailed enough so that it does break out any non-FEMA related items, so that those could be tracked.
Easily tracked, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Any other questions for Mark from the committee? No? All right.
No.
Move along to the next item on the agenda, which is an update from Silver Petroselli on construction and other updates. Dave, I think you've already chimed in usefully on a couple topics here. Anything else you would like to update us on?
No, I think I covered that. Where we are and with our kickoff meeting and the progress of the contractors. So I don't think there's anything more to add. We're moving as expected, which is good news.
All right.
David, can I just ask, going back to the submittals and Eric reviewing them? I mean, generally, it's given you've seen 90% of them. Are they generally pretty on target, and you don't really have any concerns, and just the quality of the submittals that are being sent to you?
Yeah, everything's fine. The only item we did have an issue with that we ended up resolving was the contractor did a didn't provide the basis of design, but provided a manufacturer that was part of the selected, the allowable selected. But when they submitted that, we were concerned with, noise. We were concerned with the with the decibel levels coming out of the VRF. We've worked with the manufacturer's rep, and they've been able to, just based on the airflows and the CFMs, prove that they will comply with the noise requirements that we had. And again, these are internal noise. This is the noise within the classroom. So that was the only item that we had to resolve. Other than that, everything has been pretty much on par as basis of design.
Okay.
Which manufacturer of VRFs are they proposing?
If you give me a second, we were
Dakins.
Dakin, yeah. We Mitsubishi was the basis of design. So yes, that's a Dakin.
I've used them before and haven't had any issues with them. I think they were actually one of the first to create this technology. If memory serves me correctly.
Yes, yes. Dakin has been around. Dakin has been around. We've used those for over 10 years as a manufacturer.
Yeah. Okay, great. Any other questions for Silver Petroselli from the committee? All right, not hearing any. Moving along. Next item on the agenda is to hear, consider, and act upon the minutes of the regular meeting of February 18th, 2019. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion, Meredith McCormick.
All right, I'll second and open it up to discussion from the committee. Is there any comments on the minutes?
No.
All right, no. All right. With that, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Not hearing any abstentions? All right. Next item on the agenda is to hear, consider, and act upon the outstanding invoices previously circulated by Mark Colliers. There's two. First item is first invoice is from Silver Petroselli, invoice number 20-0644 in the amount of $2,406.16. Do I have a motion to approve this invoice?
I would make a motion to approve it.
We need a second. Oh, okay. It's going to be
Yep.
special? Okay.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So opening it up for discussion, Mark, there seemed to be a slight discrepancy between your records and Silver Petroselli's records on the paid to date
Yes.
by like about $300.
Yes.
Your records are coordinated, or that's what is reflected in Gerald's records as
Yeah,
well?
we reconcile with Caitlin Bossy every 3 months, and this is so we tied out back in January with her. So this is just the just to err on the previous pay that it all stemmed from a markup on some printing that I didn't take because it's the reimbursables are just pass-throughs essentially. So it got carried forward, and it's just was needed to do. It needs to be corrected, but it's under what they could max bill for. So I went with the number they have.
Okay. So you are recommending that we approve the value indicated by Silver Petroselli for $2,406.16.
Yes. Yes, I cannot.
And you are working to reconcile your books.
I cannot recommend more. I cannot recommend that the town pay them more than they have invoiced.
I see. Okay. All right. All right. So, any other questions from the committee on this invoice? All right. All those in favor of approving it? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Not hearing any. Any abstentions? No abstentions. All right, the ayes have it. Next item is invoice number 5350 from Colliers International in the amount of $4,524.06. I'll make a motion to approve this invoice. Do I have a second?
I'll second Meredith.
Okay, thank you, Meredith. Open it up for discussion. I think this is your standard monthly fee.
Yep.
Right, Mark. With some miscellaneous reimbursables. Any questions from the committee? All right. All in favor of approving this invoice?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Not hearing any. The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is here, consider an act upon assigning authority to the chair and vice chair or the executive committee to approve invoices up to a set dollar amount. I will open it up for discussion.
I think we need a motion first, so I would like to make a motion to assign the chair or vice chair authority to approve bills up to $15,000, which is in line with their authority to approve change orders of up to $15,000. We just need a second, and then we can discuss.
Who is this?
That was
Jenna?
Meredith. Meredith.
That was Meredith, but Jenna will second that. I think that makes sense.
Okay, so with that, I'll open it up to discussion. I'm fine with that authority, and thank you for trusting me with it. Rich, are you?
Yeah, I am with the codicil that in view of the current health situation, that should myself or yourself go into default, whatever, that the alternate be Meredith in the ill health or unavailability of the chairman or the vice chairman. Does that make any sense?
That makes sense.
Yep.
Fine with that. So we should just amend the motion to reflect that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments from the committee?
Nope.
Okay. So
Sure.
sorry.
I submit that as a formal amendment, or must I rephrase it?
You want to just you want to say it, Rich, and she can Helen can put it in the minutes to the amendment.
In the event of the unavailability through sickness or death of the chairman or the vice chairman, the secretary shall be considered a valid vote in the approval or disapproval of any amendment put forward to the committee.
I think of any, did you mean to say of any invoice put forward to the committee of up to $15,000?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Ellen, do you have all that?
Yep, I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Morbidly submitted.
Yeah.
These are the times.
But anyway, I think it is a good point, and hopefully it never comes to that. But anyway, if any additional comments from the committee, Ellen, could you just read back the current motion before we vote in its entirety?
Okay, well, the first motion is that they moved assigning authority to the chair and the vice chair or to the executive committee to approve invoices up to $15,000, which is in line with the change orders, to approve the invoices. And the
Ellen,
second,
sorry, that should just say to the chair and vice chair. It's not to the executive committee. It's just to
okay,
those
take
two
out.
guys.
Okay. Now, in the second one, do I have to repeat the whole thing and then just add in the event of the unavailability of the sickness, etc.? I just add that in, or do I rewrite the whole thing?
I think the motion has been amended to be a new motion that would say the chair and the vice chair have authority to approve any bills up to $15,000, and in the event of sickness or death, the secretary shall step in. So that's
I have that.
So that's really the motion on the table.
Okay. All right, I've got it.
Okay. All right. So if everyone is okay with that, I propose we move to vote. So all those in favor of approving the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Not hearing any. Any abstentions? No abstentions. All right. Motion carries. Moving right along. Any old business that anyone would like to raise? No? Okay. With that, I will make a motion to adjourn. A second?
I'll second that motion,
Second.
Meredith.
All right. All in favor?